So we're going to talk about my holdings for 2024. I did one of this last year, but a lot of things have changed. I'm not going to reveal what my percentage holdings are. That is for my Patreon members. But I have made some changes recently due to conflict and drama. And I'll be honest with you, I am somewhat sick of it. But I will explain all my reasons of what I hold and what I bought yesterday. And also what I've sold recently, because why not? I'm also going to go through some pre-sales that I am in, just so you know what I'm in. So if you start seeing me talking about certain things, you're wondering what the hell's happening, probably want to just check out my journal on Patreon. But ultimately, I'm in a few pre-sales as well, which I'm waiting to launch. I've already covered them on this channel if you know where to look. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the obvious here. Now, again, this is my holdings, my money, my decision making. And yeah, there's going to be questions going, why don't you hold this? Why don't you hold? I don't genuinely care. Really don't care anymore. I'm getting to the point where it's my money, my rules, my game. I'm playing my own game. It's like a big game of Monopoly, right? I'm just showcasing it for you, right? Ultimately. First obvious one is Bitcoin. I am a Bitcoin holder. I really like Bitcoin. I think it is a fundamental requirement to have Bitcoin in your portfolio. Use it to grow your Bitcoin via altcoins due to dominance. There we go, get my words out. You get the idea. When dominance is at a certain point, you do a certain thing. When it's at another point, you do another thing. Usually, when dominance is really high, your altcoin Satoshi pairs are low. Opposite way around is you take profit, right? However, I'm very much bullish long term on it. I always have been. I always will be. I think it's brilliant. The thing that got me in the space, right? So yes, I hold a decent chunk and it is my largest asset. My second largest asset is Near Protocol by a stretch. Near Protocol is one of those coins that I've held for a decent chunk and I bought very low, literally at the bottom, a good chunk, and it has paid me nicely. I have been a fan of Near and it fits my blueprint perfectly for a coin that came out, didn't have really much going for it in the first cycle. Second cycle, why, this could be huge because of the fundamentals of it, because the tokenomics, all the shitbags are out, yay. And also, most importantly, network effect is growing, right? That's what you want in any fundamental asset, right? Network effect. I do not buy into, new assets they don't. Seriously, you'll find that they have ceilings. Hype will get them so far, but the big boys have the ones that have been developing for 2-3 years, building something and getting the traffic into it. And then when the masses come, off it goes. So many examples of that throughout the entire market. You could argue my second biggest altcoin, essentially, is Rose. If I can get it wrote out, off we go. Bought some Rose yesterday. Topped up my bag, thought it was a nice little area to top up, and I'm really excited about this. A lot of my pre-sales are in the Rose ecosystem. I've spoken about it before. If you look at my Rose video, you will see what I'm in, and I'll go through them in a second, towards the end, essentially. If I remember, I might forget. Sorry if I do. But you get the idea, right? Really happy with what's been developed here. Partnerships out there is at the moment. It's definitely growing well. And as I say, I'm in 2 pre-sales, potentially another one potentially coming up as well. But we'll see how things go in terms of this. But I've talked about it before that the Rose ecosystem is going to get greenlit because there is going to be a decentralized DEX coming out very soon, which is going to be privacy enabled, which is going to be huge on the Ethereum virtual machine, right? Essentially. You've also got stable currency as well, which I will go into in more detail in a second. But yeah, very happy with Rose. In terms of market capitalization, it's one of those levels where it's like, ooh. And again, it fits the bill of the obvious that it came out, wasn't really that big. It didn't really have much going for it, but it kind of had that hype for the first couple of months. And then obviously the market corrected quite severely. The next one is DOT. Now, with all the drama, I have sold a decent chunk of DOT. DOT was my second biggest altcoin holding for a while. I've kind of got a bit fed up with it. As much as the technology is probably one of the best in the industry, and I have talked about it an awful lot, and I've done a lot of work for DOT because it was one of my first real big investments of 2020 that really did catapult me as a brand, as you could argue, an influencer essentially, and I've made a decent chunk of money. reinvested that profit, and I've been sitting on a decent bag, which has basically been risk-free for the majority of the part when you counter in the risk to reward, earnings from staking and stuff. Pretty happy with my position, but I have sold a decent chunk because I'm fed up. I really am. I'm not going to go into it too much, but the attacking, being called XYZ and all these baseless allegations just because you have an opinion is really bad. And funny enough, with all the drama, I didn't actually do anything to start off. I was just in a chat, and once someone saw me in a chat, that was it. Just like, yep, easy, let's just go for it. At the end of the day, right, investing is about decision making. It's psychology. It's also your money. Why should I get, told or attacked or whatever, accused for holding something or to having a different opinion to potential other whales in the space? Doesn't make sense. But yeah, coming from an influencer who's spoken a lot about DOT, again, doing it all for free, no proposals, no nothing, not asking for anything, actually taking a lot of money out of my own pocket to develop my videos. It's kind of a bit sad, and I know a lot of people watching this video will be very, very sad to hear this, but it is what it is. Let me know what your thoughts are. But yeah, I do think DOT will do well, but I have de-risked to put it elsewhere. I have basically moved my holdings into Rose and into Bitcoin as well, just for the simplicity of it. I'm kind of done with it right now. The next one, and it is going on to the same theme, so do not worry. We've got Bifrost. Now, again, yes, it is part of the Polkadot ecosystem, and I rate Bifrost heavily. Really, really like it. Really, really excited about the future of it. It does require DOT, though, to do well, for this to do well with the TVL and the VDOT. I highly recommend people to stake their DOT on this versus, especially if you've got a small bag, much, much better to do it. You get more fluidity with it. You only need one DOT as well, which is huge. But liquid staking, in terms of this whole thing, I think is a huge narrative for the future, personally. That's my opinion on it. This is probably one of the best infrastructures I've ever used because it's multi-chain, it's very, very fast, very, very efficient, and I like it a lot. It's a low cap though, so it's very, very risky. But I do hold a decent chunk. I have been staking on this as well. I stake a lot of my assets on here because it's easy to do so, and I really like to do that. And yeah, as I say, it's now a 15 million market cap. I think when I first covered it, it was about 5 or 4 million market cap. It was very much underwater, and it's certainly growing. It's doing really, really well. So pretty damn happy with the results so far, especially with how it's developing and stuff. The next one, and another obvious one to anyone who's around me will know this, Moonbeam. Still hold the Moonbeam, still have some conviction for it. I did de-risk a little bit from it, not massively though, but I did want to buy myself a steering wheel and pedals. And also I bought at like 16, 17 cents, and it absolutely popped to like these stupid levels very, very quickly. Like I was like taking profit. I was like, yeah, get me out, because I thought, why not take a little bit off the table, bought myself some stuff, move some money around, and I'm quite happy with my position. It's a relatively decent chunky position again, considering the market cap, so that's pretty good. As I know, if you're in Patreon, you'll know what my percentages are on this. They are pretty meaty considering, but I don't have that many tokens, as you'll probably find out very, very soon. The other one that comes into contention about anything that I say right now in terms of Twitter and into the Polkadot ecosystem is PGOLD. This is one of my DGEM plays. This is a bit of fun, and yes, you probably recall the tweet going, well, lunch money, boys and girls, when it was like $100,000 market cap, lunch money, right? This went ridiculous levels, right? And you can see what's happened. It kind of went to 5 million market cap pretty damn quickly. And the liquidity of it has been crazy, right? When I bought into this, I bought it due to what the name was and the white paper as a DGEM play, thinking, I have never done an Algorand play ever in my life. Why not? And I did. And it kind of just popped off like a rocket. Since then, liquidity locked, liquidity burned has increased massively. They've got partnerships with some very reputable, ecosystems on Algorand. And they've also been talking about funding and leaving a bridge, open source, for Algorand and DOT to do it through them. Maybe it becomes bigger than a degen play. Still just a micro cap, as you can see. But yeah, still hold it. Bought a small bag. Very, very happy with it. And yeah, I've not sold any yet. And I'm quite happy to just sit and just watch what happens and watch it unfold, hopefully, fingers crossed, into something much bigger. Final thing that we need to talk about is Tether. How much money have I plonked? Not so much how much money, but what have I put my money into in terms of pre-sales? There's quite a few out there. It's been a long, long time since I've done pre-sales. Kind of the way that I got into the space properly was the ICOs back in 2017. You know, I bought Bitcoin, bought some altcoins, and then I went crazy with ICOs and I loved it. Kind of going back to those roots in terms of pre-sales and having a bit of fun. Luckily, I am getting some good opportunities right now. So going back to the Rose ecosystem, there's a lot happening. First one is IlluminX, which is going to be a decentralized exchange. As you can see, it's coming out very, very, very soon. Actually, on the 4th of February, it is coming out. I have been lucky enough to have a guaranteed spot in that allocation. I've also been lucky enough to share out some raffles to my community, and some of them have got in. It's a raffle-based ecosystem, and it's quite hard to get into, but ultimately, it's worth doing. If you want it, you go for it, right? Another one is Vine Money. This is one of their articles, but essentially it's kind of like Make a DAO in a way, if you know what that is. Utilizing a stable currency and a Make a coin, essentially, and a token. So you got Vine Money and VUSD. As you can see, it's a huge amount of elements to it, but you can see this one. This is the main thing. Privacy elements, right? Obviously, it's not like Monero, but you get the idea. Kind of a bit like Bitcoin in a way, where it's got a privacy element. So it's pretty huge, first of its kind. Another one was a Swissborg early deal that I got involved in. Very, very straightforward. Quite a lot of people could have done that, and I've put my money into that. So I think it's called Parva. Social media app. It's not out yet, but it's one of those things that's coming out very, very soon, hopefully. And the final one is this one. This one's ticking my interest. I do have a allocation for this, so I'm pretty happy. There is going to be more public allocations coming out soon. It's not going to be released for a couple of months yet, but as you can see, I think it's called Entangle. It's like an omni-chain sort of vibe. It's real world asset type vibes. There's a lot of elements to it, as you can see. Trustless bridging, real world assets. You got cross-chain DAF, smart contract automation, omni stablecoins. It's quite a big thing. So this one's took my interest a little bit, and I thought, let's go for it. So let's see what's going to happen. But yeah, I have got a lot of pre-sales in the mix for a bit of fun to see what happens. Not massive risk, just a bit of, put some money aside and do this, that, and the other with, because I think it's important to know. I get a lot of people saying to me, you don't do many risky stuff, but realistically, people don't actually know what I do and what is put on Patreon. So I'm hoping this video kind of puts away some of those kind of elements that people look at me, because I do cover a lot of obvious picks on my channel. But there you go. I've literally laid out what is my portfolio. So if you're new and you like this sort of stuff, leave a like and subscribe. I will be covering some of these coins in more detail when they come out, in terms of how to, utilize them, use them. The Rose ecosystem is definitely one that I'm very, very excited about. Be good to see how they all take off.